This is episode 39. Welcome back. Or if you're new, I'm Mr. Milchev. I'm a football coach and a self proclaimed blue belt philosopher. On this podcast, we talk about everything from football and other sports, all the way to these more philosophical topics that explore the meaning of life, existence, and all these very difficult to grasp concepts like respect, which is what we're going to talk about today. Today's overarching topic will be respect because it's something that when I look around, it's missing. It's missing mostly, or it's misunderstood, it's misinterpreted. People do not. Times are changing. People are not what they used to be. You could almost say the societal hierarchy is not the same anymore. So I think it's important to actually discuss this because we've talked about all these other topics, but not respect. And respect is a big thing. You can't talk about confidence, about motivation, discipline, but then not talk about respect. So I thought, why not do a podcast about respect? Hopefully, someone hears it. And the more people understand what it is, the better. So after I'm finally done with this low energy introduction, slow introduction, if I still haven't lost the viewers, we can now, I've tested your patience, we can now get into the topic. Before we start, as we always do, when we're breaking down a topic, we want to crack the definition first. What is the definition? The definition of respect is an admiration or appreciation of someone else's quality or qualities or characteristics. Okay? This is my generalized definition. It's not the exact dictionary definition, but it's something along the lines. It's close to it. Okay? Where does it come from, actually? This is quite interesting. I actually checked. Respect comes from Latin, from respectus, which in turn comes uh, from two words. The first part is re, which means again, as you all know, redo, rewrite, read this, read that. It means again. And specere, which means to look back. So to look back again, in essence, okay? To look back again at someone. Why would you do that? And that sounds, well, what does that mean? Well, you'd look back at someone that requires it, you know? You'd only look back at someone that has caught your attention for some reason. So by looking back at him again, in essence, it means, oh, I'm interested. This guy, he's got something. So this is the origin of the word, if you think about it. Now, what we understand by respect today is a bit different. Okay, I don't even know what people understand when they say respect, disrespect. It's just like one of these buzzwords that people use. But this is the actual origin of the word. To look back at someone, to look again. Oh, okay, this guy, yeah, he's caught my attention for some reason. So, respect. we know what respect is. It's admiration. It's someone is appreciates you for some reason or something that you do. Now, just the definition changes everything, changes the context. Nowadays, we've got this ongoing thing of, oh, you have to respect everyone. I try to get behind it, but I'm struggling to do it. Respect doesn't mean kind and, being respectful and being kind, it's not the same thing. This current narrative that everyone deserves respect is a bit questionable, I would say. I question it, although I have you know, you look at me, I have the tattoo, the bushido, the code of conduct of the samurai, and respect is one of the main pillars of the set of moral principles. Yeah, but we need to adapt it. We need to adjust it to today's times. You know, respect should be earned. Not everyone deserves it just because. That thing that everyone needs, respect. As I said, I'm starting to repeat myself. It's not, I disagree with it. Why? Because you have to have something about you that deserves respect. If you're just nobody, you do nothing, you stand for nothing, what is there to be respected about you? Just that's my general question. Now, does that mean that, let's say, for example, me, am I gonna be rude to you? Am I gonna treat you badly? No. But am I gonna respect you? Why should I? What is there to respect? That's actually an honest question. What is there to respect? You have to have something that deserves respect. Not everyone has it, at least not in my book. I've said it multiple times. Am I the best person? Maybe not. Okay. So I don't, it's difficult for me to actually respect people. And think about what I'm saying, to respect people. I can respect certain individual aspects or, or actions that someone does, but do I respect the person? That's more difficult. And the more we get into this, towards the end, you're probably gonna realize that to be respected as a person is one of the most difficult things to achieve and maintain. But we'll get to this. We need to make the separation that someone can respect, I can respect someone's ability or trait, characteristic, or whatever else it might be, but I just respect just that little part of them. I don't respect them. I can respect, I don't know, let's say you have someone that you disagree with. You say this guy is a bad person. I'll give you an example. Let's say all these terrorists, for example. Hopefully, this doesn't get banned when I use the word terrorists. They have these extreme views and they have bad intentions. Okay. I don't agree with them. I don't like them. I don't want to be like them. Can you respect their belief though? Even if it's misguided, misplaced, you can respect their belief and dedication to whatever it is, even if it's the worst thing ever. Just think about the quality that they're showcasing. Although they're doing the worst thing imaginable, you have to have a certain sense of complete and utter dedication and belief. So you can respect that without respecting the person. Hopefully that's made it clear now. So that being said, that lie that everyone deserves respect, we need to move past this. Now let's think about where where does it come from? Let's think about the almost the origin, the backstory. We need to understand that respect was and still is, this is the missing part, still is essential to society. You have to have respect for certain things, certain people, rules. If you don't, society doesn't work. We only got to where we are because there was actually respect. People respected the rules, people had respected the hierarchy in society. Because of this hierarchy, there was order. Because of order, there was progress. It's absolutely it's logical. It's logical. Imagine 2,000, 3,000 years ago. No, even more, to be honest. You know what? I'll brush up on my just history of humankind. I think I need to go and reread Sapiens, history of humankind. So I know when I speak about the origin of all these things, I know exactly what the time frame that I'm talking about. Because now I can say 5,000 years, but then actually it was more like 10,000. But let's just throw a random number: 10,000 years ago, the origins of society. People that had well structured and respected hierarchy developed and progressed quicker and better. They followed the rules. Everyone was working together. When you have rules, it's easier to move forward, isn't it? Because everyone knows, say, we're doing this and this and this. There is better cohesion. That makes perfect sense, doesn't it? Then look at nowadays. People, they're just disrespectful. Okay? We have respect for very little things. And mainly, it's money, if you think about it. Who do youngsters look up to? They look up to people with money. What do youngsters look for and aspire to? Money. That's the problem. Money, 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 money. Is money the problem? The main cause of all evil? No. But have we confused our priorities nowadays? Yeah, of course. Absolutely. We still haven't adapted to social media, to Instagram, to TikTok, all these things that allow you to show things, to show what you have, what you do, and make it very appealing. You make it very appealing, other people want to be like you. And then that desire to be like someone else, to show, oh yeah, I want to be like that. I want people to look at me the same way I look at this guy. That desire oftentimes overcomes the person's character and takes over and makes you do things that are very superficial. They're not driven by morals. They're driven by, I just want to do something that looks like that so people can admire me. Or people can look at me and say, oh, damn, this guy is very superficial. it doesn't come from a good place. Is it normal to be beaten by this primal desire? Yeah, it's normal. Is it correct? No. You have to work to develop that inner. You have to work to develop your character, your strength of character. You have to do it. I got a bit off topic, but it doesn't matter, because this is important. Because we forget about the important things, such as what respect used to be and why people were respected. Okay. And we started looking at other things. You don't respect character anymore. Like, you can say, oh yeah, that's cool, but you don't, as we said, the definition, you admire, you look up to much more to people that have material things. This guy is successful, he's got money, we look up to him. Okay, no problem, it's fine. Maybe he's done it in a good way, maybe he's built himself up from nothing, maybe not. And then we have people, maybe they haven't gotten there, but they're displaying these characteristics, but we go, oh, what has he achieved? And we're very superficial, very superficial. We get beaten easily by our desire, to look like we are someone, and not necessarily to be someone, but you just to look like you are someone. That's the same. You see someone with money, and you go, oh, this guy, look at him, look at what he's dressed with, look at his clothes, I wanna, these are so cool, man. Look at these sneakers, I want them. Look at his belt, I want the same. Look at his car. And you want to get the same thing, which represents like a status in society. You want that same thing, but you don't want to work to achieve that status. You're like, I just want to look like I'm this. It doesn't matter whether I am or not. Misplaced priorities. So respect, we start with respect. What was it? People were respected for their ability. Okay, people were respected for their morals. This guy, he's a good person. For their wisdom, for their knowledge. You know, there used to be respect. The youth, they were, and still are, but they just don't do it anymore. They were supposed to respect their elders. This is a tradition. That's how things work. That's why some older guys, older generations, they get frustrated with the younger generations, because respect is less and less, is given less and less, is given much more. People are much more disrespectful nowadays. We're moving away from tradition. It's not necessarily a bad thing, but when it's misinformed and misguided, it is a bad thing. Because listen, why is it important to respect your elders? Why has it been important? It's always been a thing. Respect your elders. Respect your parents, blah, blah, blah. Respect your elders. Why? Well, because if you think about it, go back in the past. When someone is older than you, that means that they've lived longer, they've experienced more things, and they've learned more things, just by the sheer fact that they've had more time on this earth. Now, okay, nowadays with the overwhelming amount of information that we've got available, this changes a little bit. Okay, it changes. And with the it's so you can do so many things with your life. It changes. Okay, you can move and develop much quicker than people that are older than you. All right. So I'm not saying, oh, everyone that's older than me, I need to keep my head down and say nothing. No, but as a general rule, you should be respectful. And respectful. Remember, you should be nice to everyone as a general rule. That's just how it goes. You should be nice to everyone. But respect is different, and yet you have to be respectful to your elders. As I said, why? Because at the very least, they most likely know more than you do. As we said, context, today's context, nowadays, you can, I'm 26. I know much more and I've done much more, read much more than people that are, let's say, twice my age. Okay. So am I going to respect them? Not necessarily. It's questionable. But again, context, and don't do it. People can do it wrong. Oh, what is this guy done? Why should I respect him? Whoa, calm down. When you have to stay grounded. Observe first. Am I missing something? What has this guy done in his life? What is he doing? What, let's say, most people immediately, what has he achieved? Not everyone is this ambitious, but maybe you look at this guy, he hasn't, at first glance, he hasn't achieved anything, but he's lived a life of, let's say he's 40. He's lived for 20 years, he's showcased a certain amount of discipline, okay? Or let's say selflessness or stuff like that, that is admirable qualities. Are they gonna lead directly to big achievements? Probably not. Okay, and you're gonna go, oh, what do you know? You just blah 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 blah, and you go and you're disrespectful. So be respectful. As I said, respect is demanded by certain qualities or characteristics. Now, to be respected as a person, that's different again, and it takes a lot more. I would say it takes a lifetime of work. I can do something today, and you can say, you know what, this guy, he just achieved this thing. That's a big thing. That's a big achievement. I respect him for this. But then my achievement is left in the past. 10 years later, I still have this achievement. I'll have it forever. That doesn't necessarily mean that you still have to respect me. This is in the past. I might no longer be that guy that achieved this, I might be something completely different. You're still gonna respect me. Since then I've done nothing but bad things. So you shouldn't respect me then. So to actually be a respected person, this requires a lifetime of work. There's never a moment where you are like, I've done this, I've earned my respect. I don't think there is a no. I disagree with this. It doesn't make sense. So these qualities, as I said, where I started from. You can learn, you can get better much quicker than other people. That means you can demand more respect than your age would suggest. That is fine. And if you're in a situation where, oh, I'm the youngest here, everyone else is my senior, and yet I know more than them, don't be shy and don't feel like it's disrespectful for you to say, hey guys, listen up, we have to do this and this and this. That's the right thing to do. you know more and you've done more. If that's the case, go ahead. You're not being disrespectful, do it. But make sure, if you're talking to someone or if you're doing something, make sure you've paid your dues. You know, you've done the work. You've done the work. And make sure when you have to take that step up, make sure you do it in a nice way. Okay? Be nice. Even if you don't respect someone, still, it doesn't mean you need to be rude. My overall view is you don't need to be nice to someone. You can be a bit, more only if they do it first. If not, I just keep being nice. Yeah, not a problem. Like I ignore them a little bit, but when I have to say something, I'm just nice, not a problem. Yeah, this okay, yeah, okay, mate. And yeah, that's it. Now, what is my next point? My next point is, I actually had it in my head. Is wait. What did I want to say? I had it in my head, and I prolonged my speech just a couple sentences more than necessary, and now it's kind of gone. This is the most frustrating thing of all time. However, we maintain our base and remain calm. And we're just gonna pick up from somewhere. A lifetime of work is required to achieve respect. A lifetime of showcasing certain traits. A lifetime of work. Think about this. And if you need an example of why you can respect someone's quality, but not the person, and the two things, as much as they're separate, they sometimes mesh together. Think about last week. On the last week's podcast, we watched the fight. We watched Conor Benn and Christopher Livingston Eubank Jr. The fight ends. Maybe not this fight exactly, but there is a fight, okay, a boxing match or a MMA fight, regardless. People dislike each other. Yeah, they dislike the two men. They dislike each other. They have a fight. It's a good fight. It's a 50-50 fight. As soon as the fight ends, they're hugging each other. I could never understand that when I was younger. I was like, how can you do that? I would never do that. I can't even. That just that's too much for me. But then as you grow up, and especially like with experience, fighting and actually sparring, you start to understand it more and more. You can try and punch someone and beat them up. You can genuinely dislike them. But as the fight progresses, deep inside, you know what it took from you to prepare for this moment. Deep down, or from experience as well, you know, I've hit this guy with some good shots. He's still there. He's solid. It sucks getting hit with these shots. He's taking it. So you're like, this guy, yeah, he's kind of tough, then you know, hey, to be this tough, to be able to keep going, to fight back, to keep up with me, you need to be tough, you know. I know how much work I've put into myself, so I think I'm pretty decent. And for you to keep up with me, you're a tough guy. Yeah, dang. That's their thought process. Okay, that's their thought process. That's why at the end of every fight, especially the closer the fight, the more you see it. The fight ends and they hug each other and they go, "Hey, respect." And half of the times they become friends. Why? Because of that. Because they've seen qualities in each other that they see in themselves. You see qualities in your enemy that you see in yourself, and you know. One sec, my mustache is out of place. You see qualities in your enemy that you see in yourselves, in yourself, in yourself. Annoying mistake. And you know how much it took from you to develop this quality. You know how much work you put in to get this fit. So fight ends and you're like, yeah, I respect this guy. This is why. And because they attribute the skill to all these qualities that they themselves have, which are to do with character. Because they know it takes character to be good, let's say a sport, because you need to do it so much, even when you don't want to do it. You just have to do it. So they're okay. I respect this guy. They might still not like each other necessarily, like in terms of personality, but they know they've got qualities that are similar and character traits. That's why you see that. That's why this happens. And then the funny thing, sometimes he's trying to sell a rematch or a second fight. Sometimes it's just genuine. A bit of time goes by, and they're back to disliking each other, talking bad about each other. They've forgotten. They've forgotten. But how more than more often than not, this is just that's just for you know a bit of drama, controversy. I want to go by Drogba. Boom! I remember that goal. By the way, in the background, I've got a game from 2012 of Chelsea playing Tottenham. Chelsea in the semi-final of the FA Cup. And Drogba just scored the first goal. What a goal that was. Jesus Christ. Players are not like that anymore. That's why. Why am I watching this game? Because I respect these guys much more. I used to look up to them. And not only what a goal. Not only for their ability. A lot about it was because of their ability. I was young. I used to look up to these players. But it's also the character. It's different. This is a game from 13 years ago. I compare these players to me. When I looked at them, I was like 12, 13, 14. I was like, they're men. I was a child. Like these guys. I just looked up to them and I saw men. Nowadays, I watch football. Obviously, I'm older, so that makes it a bit more difficult. But also the players, they've become gradually softer and softer and softer. They now do not look like men. They look like children. You see a 28-year-old player, he looks like a child. He looks like he's 19. Over there, yeah, I see a player that is like 25 and I'm like, that's a grown man. The difference. Also in the way they act as well. Was there diving back then? Yeah, there was a little bit, not as much as today. Today, every touch is a foul. They roll on the ground, they start crying and all that silly stuff. How can I respect that? And when I don't respect it, it affects the way I look at them. I'm not interested in seeing these guys. They don't have the qualities that I look for. Like in terms of like personality. They're too soft. I'm like, yeah, okay, this guy is doing well, yeah, all right, that's fine. But is he gonna be doing well under the pressure when it's tough, when it's difficult? And I'm like, I'm not convinced. I'm not convinced. Talk too much. They talk too much, whine to the referee too much, and they don't do enough. Tough times come, they start blaming. They start uh, boycotting the manager or whatever. Back then, there wasn't any of that. Just there to play football, do their best, and that's it. Nowadays, too much other stuff. And they're just boring. No one wants to say anything as well in terms of like an opinion. Everyone is like a machine, just the same. It's just boring. It's boring. I only watch it to see how football evolves. I don't really have players that I like. They're very few. Very, very few. Back then, even if I didn't like some players, I was like, I respected them. Was I a fan of, let's say, Wayne Rooney or I don't know, Paul Scholes, all these Man United guys? No, but did I? I was like, I knew they're good. I was like, Man United, God, hopefully we get them. But the respect was there. Nowadays, I watch a team and I'm like, what's this guy doing? Look at his shorts. What's this? Why is this guy not running? Why are they constantly doing this? 25, shut up, play. Who do you think you are? You know? Throwing tantrums every 10 minutes. Not running when they're supposed to. Just not giving everything. You can see it. You can see it. Not giving everything. Just having a bad attitude. Which means disrespect. You do not respect what the guy, let's say the coach has asked of you. You think what? You think you're better than that. You think you know better than what the coach wants you to do. What makes you think that? Because if you don't want to do it, or you don't do it to the best of your ability, that means, oh yeah, that means you don't respect his opinion. You don't think his opinion is valid or important or good enough. That's the lack of respect. So yeah, that's of course I don't like these guys. It's just difficult to watch. It's hard to watch when I have a profound dislike for most players that I see. I feel like they're gonna break. How can I watch that? It's just everything is gone. I don't want to be too dark. I don't know why I'm even doing this. It's just reflections, reflections. Because it has to change. It has to change. Hopefully, people see the path. There are things that are important that have nothing to do with money or with other people or with opinions. They have things to do with you, with who you are. Do you cheat? Do you cheat the process? If you're too worried about where you end up, you will cheat. It's not a question. If you're worried about doing things the right way, then there is potential for something good there. I do not see people being worried about the process, about, hey, what am I doing and why am I doing things that way? Okay. Am I checking myself constantly? Am I checking myself constantly? I have to double check. Am I doing the right things? That's what religion is or was supposed to teach people. Yet, half of the time, it just makes people even more arrogant. They do not want to even they don't even want to think or look at a different point of view or philosophy, because the Bible, I've read the Bible. Okay, all right, yeah, no problem. So you become very defensive and arrogant. That's why I'm not a fan of too early acceptance or following of religious beliefs. This is maybe a bit of a controversial statement, but think about it. The earlier you kind of get into religion, you're going to develop an emotional attachment to it, which in turn is going to get in your way of exploring other stuff, of learning other things, of evaluating things objectively. All right, because every time you see something that goes against what you believe or what you were raised to believe, you're going to be defensive, and it's natural to be defensive. And then this is going to get in the way of just everything. Think about it. It makes perfect sense. It makes sense. That's why I'm not really a big advocate of any religion. Not that because it's bad, but it's because it's easily misunderstood. As anything else, to be fair. I have to be honest. As anything else, it's easy. But that's why you introduce certain things to people at a certain point in their life, a point where they can understand it, right? Or at a point where what they understand is actually going to be good for them. Because think about it. For the majority, like in today's society, for the majority of people, hopefully, for the majority of people, let's say you introduce religion to someone at a very young age, or someone, if you're introduced to religion by someone older than you that knows exactly what he's talking about or what he's doing, this can be good, not a problem. But if you just kind of just by yourself get into it, this can almost do more harm than good. Almost, it's a possibility, because you close your mind to all these other possibilities and philosophies, and you miss out on so much that it becomes a bit difficult. You become a closed-minded person. You don't you stop learning. You think you know everything because I've read the Bible or whatever other religion and religious texts. Or you wanna put there, insert, because I've read, insert religious text, regardless of which one it is. Are they good? The teachings, are they good? Yeah. Can they make you a bit arrogant? Yeah, of course. The Dunning-Kruger effect, the thing that we've talked about so many times, is in full force there as well, as with anything else, fighting and everything else. You learn something new, your confidence shoots up way, way above your skill level or knowledge level. And then the more you continue learning, then your confidence now starts dropping because you start realizing how much I don't know. But it's normal. It's normal. But you just have to be careful. That's why, for me personally, if you think about it, philosophy is the best way forward, because philosophy teaches you to think, to be open-minded. Okay, teaches you actually how to think, not to reject things outright, to reason. Okay, compared to you study religion and you hear something along the lines. I can't give it to you like verbatim, but something along the lines. It's let's find. I don't have my other phone. Only God is the truth. Okay, everything else is false. Something along the lines. There is only one God. There is this, there is that. They're telling you things. There is only this, and that. If you take the way, or if you follow the path or the way of God or Jesus or whatever, you will be saved. If not, trouble. Some stuff like that, you know, which is good in general. But think, is it likely that this makes you a bit? Yes, it is very likely. You don't even want to hear to it about anything else because you're like, I've heard the best, mate. You know, what do you know? It doesn't matter what you've got there. Oh, philosophy, haha. Okay, Mr. Philosopher, you read that. Is this not arrogant? And also think about this. What is the opposite of respect? If you ask me, I would say it's arrogance. The opposite of respect is arrogance. Because being arrogant means that you appreciate your own qualities and abilities much higher than what they actually are. And therefore, just by extension of this argument, by you overestimating your abilities and qualities, you underestimate everyone else's just by comparison. You think you're up here when in reality you're here. You might be accurate with everyone else's qualities, which is here, but you think yours is here. So now you're looking down at everyone else and you're being disrespectful. So I think arrogance is the exact opposite of respect. And I think I would end on this. We've said, and just to go over this again, the most difficult thing there is to be respected in life, to be respected as a person in life. This is the most difficult thing because it requires a lifetime of work. It requires a lifetime of discipline. It requires a lifetime, a life lived well. You stood for something. You stand for what's good. You have moral principles that you follow, and you have followed, and you continue following. That's the only way. You're not going to be respected as a person based on an achievement. An achievement is a singular point in time. You being respected as a person is a very long and continuous process. This is my final statement. This is what I want to say about respect. Did I do the best job? Maybe not, but it's something to think about, and to think about the lack of respect that we've got nowadays. Kids, kids don't, people don't respect their elders. Because everyone thinks I'm special. Most likely you're not. When you look at someone older than you, that's my last bit of advice, and you're not doing anything extra, if you're being honest with yourself, you're not. And this other guy that is older than you, he's not doing anything extra as well. So both you and this guy, you're like normal. Well, then you have to respect him. You have to, because he's lived longer than you. Now, if you wanna think that you've got an edge, then you have to be something special. You have to be putting way, way more work. You need to have outworked him. Have you done that? If yes, then okay, then maybe you can talk to him as if you're talking to an equal. If not, you talk to him as if you're talking to someone above you in the hierarchy. That's it. That's how it's supposed to be. And with this, I conclude episode 39. We'll be back next week. And thanks for watching, listening, and hopefully hearing. Hopefully you heard what I said. And now we're gonna think about it. Yeah, that's it. We're done, and I'll see you next